This video is a collection of memories from my first trip to Paris, which happened in December of 2016. I know it has been a few years since I've gotten around to editing it. This trip was actually part of a larger first time to Europe trip where I spent a few days in London, took the train to Paris for a day, and then flew to Torino and Milan in Italy before circling back to New York City for a few days. So I am excited to share that footage when I do get a chance. This was my first time bringing a GoPro on a trip, and I didn't realize how important it was to have a stabilizer. So in most of this footage, I'm doing my best to, keep the camera steady, but you'll see a little bit of shaking. Originally, my plan for a day in Paris was to spend all of it at the Louvre Museum, wandering around, since it is one of the most famous museums in the world. But I'm so glad I followed the advice of my friend Katie, who had spent a few months studying abroad in Paris, and her recommendation was to just walk around and wander the streets instead, going up the hill to Montmartre and enjoying whatever, pathways we decided to take in Paris. And I'm so glad I took her advice. It was, I think, so much more fun than wandering around in a museum. So here we've arrived at the train station, and we're on our way to, this is the metro now. The first thing I noticed about the metro is how much grungier it looks compared to, say, the subway system in New York City. Sometimes I do wonder about the people I accidentally capture in my filming. For example, what are they doing 4 years later now? Do they still look the same? So I'm walking up the stairs from the metro station. This is my first glimpse of the city after getting out of the train station and metro, and I was absolutely blown away by how beautiful everything was. You can see that building in the back there with the gold inlaid on the roofs. And I remember turning around and being struck by all these other buildings and roads that led to who knows where. So I really felt like there was a sense of adventure. We're now on our way walking to the hotel. Funny story about this hotel, the Place Vendôme by Hyatt, is that we got to stay there for free. I was doing a lot of travel research at the time and discovered that with a Hyatt credit card, they were offering a free night stay at any of their hotels for each cardholder per year. And this hotel in Paris happened to be one of the places that was offered. So this was the most luxurious hotel I'd ever stayed at. The bed was super comfortable. They had macarons offered. The bathrooms were inlaid with gold, and the bathroom was also humongous. with separate rooms for showers and an electronic toilet. The entire decor of this room was also really artistic, I would say. The windows had electronic blinds that you could control from remote control. But we didn't spend too long in that room. We were pretty excited to start exploring. We're waiting for a train that'll take us up to Montmartre. Sorry for the shakiness of the camera. I am glad I filmed all of this because it's easy to forget what it felt like exiting a metro station. All of these stairs, the artwork on the walls. It's also fun to see a snapshot of time, because of course this was filmed before the 2020 pandemic. Yeah, we're definitely in a place where there were a lot of tourists. And I remember at this point I was really happy to see all of the architecture of the buildings. Some construction work going on here. Before we continued our explorations, we decided to stop at this bakery. The baguette was amazing, and the croissant was, I swear, after trying the croissant here, I realized that I had never really had a real croissant before.
It's your shadows.
What?
At this point, we're, I think, still heading up the hill, trying to get to the top. I mean, very touristy, but really nice to kind of walk around. So many different restaurants and shops that were pretty packed. This square was a lot of fun to walk around in. A lot of artists were offering to paint your portrait. We've just made it to the Basilica, which stands at the highest point in Paris. As you can see on the right, there's a train which brought fellow passengers up to the hill. I don't know if it required payment or not. Supposedly on a non-foggy day, you'd be able to see the Eiffel Tower from here. I really love this shot of walking down the stairs and not knowing what to expect when you get to the end. Another shot of some lovely stairs. I think I would have I don't remember if I took a photo here. There were like so many people behind us and in front of us that it would have been hard to stop. But I thought that was a beautiful view. So I'm glad I was able to film this. Yeah, and I mean that's one of the things I really love about cities, imagining, you know, living in one of those rooms and exploring. So that's a wall where the word love in multiple different languages are written. I did take a photo here. High-end clothing stores. Yeah, so at this point we decided to go to a cemetery that had some famous writers buried in it. I don't think I filmed this part because I feel weird about filming in the cemetery, even if it was, you know, a really old one. But we spent some time here looking at famous graves. It was one of the spots, I think, highlighted on the Atlas Obscura. this was a surprise. So we just kind of wandered, downhill, and we realized that the Moulin Rouge was right in front of it. There's a famous movie based on that, of course. And the Moulin Rouge building in real life was a lot smaller than I thought it would be. Yeah, at this point, this is winter, so like the sun is setting already at like 4:30 p.m. I think at that time when you see the evening shot, that was just us getting out of a metro station. We decided to pop into this mall to take a look, and we're in the bookstore right now. All the books were in French, and like I also remember how almost strange it was to hear everyone speaking French. And at that point, I did regret not taking French in high school because it's such a beautiful language. Yeah, it was fun to see all these translations. Okay, back outside again. We're on our way to Shakespeare and Company, an English language bookstore in Paris. But I also couldn't help but stop and film how beautiful the lights on the buildings were. And we're walking towards that bookstore when I realize, hey, we're crossing the river Seine. And I'm also realizing at this point, or maybe you'll see in a bit, that we're pretty close to the Notre Dame. So it was between the Moulin Rouge and the Notre Dame, and this river, it was like hitting landmarks that I didn't think we had time to visit, but accidentally stumbling upon them, which was a lot of fun. So yeah, this is us just going down the street. I think I did have Google Maps on my phone working, so and then realizing, hey, this is that famous building. This is of course before the back of it burned down. And I remember also thinking, I wish we had a second day in Paris, then we would have gone in. But right now we're just looking at the outside of it. And as you can see, there are soldiers on security duty. There were a lot of them actually at that time. Heading back for a closer look. We've arrived at Shakespeare and Company, which is a very short walk away. One of the cool things inside this bookstore is this wall of notes written by many, many visitors in different languages. What I really liked about this wall is how it evokes the idea that anyone can be a writer. You don't necessarily need to be published. I mean, it'd be really nice to have your book published, but I think this wall evokes how everyone has thoughts to share. Heading away from the wall, a very short walk away, is another favorite part of the bookstore for me. A piano hidden on the other side of that shelf. That's me. I spent some time playing songs by Jan Tiersen and Pirates of the Caribbean, since I had just finished an arrangement for it for violin. I also met a music student from Brazil who told me it was much more expensive to fly to San Francisco than it was to fly to Paris. Finally, time for dinner. We found this vegetarian restaurant called Paradis Margaret. The food was pretty good. Doing a bit of window shopping. And at this point, I think we're on the campus of the Louvre Museum. That's the pyramid in the back. It's very cold. My phone battery is dying. I think my phone battery actually died at this point, so we had to ask for directions back to a main metro point so we could figure out, how to get to where we needed to go in the hotel. But it was nice to film a little bit of this. And the streets are all lined with Christmas trees because this was, again, shortly after Christmas. I think it was December 28th or 29th. Back to the hotel room with the statues and the remaining macarons. When we got back to the hotel, Arthur fell asleep immediately. I stayed awake for a bit and was reflecting on the day. And this was the funny part. The TV was on, but I could not figure out how to turn it off. It was playing this really nice, relaxing music, advertising the restaurant in the hotel. But yeah, there was no remote control. I couldn't find the button to shut it off on the TV. I think I ended up unplugging it. That was our menu from the restaurant. So that was our day in Paris. Early the next morning, we took a bus to the airport. And hopefully I'll be able to show you footage soon of what our trip to Torino in Italy was like. I was kind of sad filming this on the bus because I really wish I had had more time in Paris. It was really a lot of fun to walk around. But hopefully I'll be able to visit soon.